What's up guys, EPICJONTUAZON here, and we are back in the workshop. As you can see, it's a little bit different than before of my other videos. I've recently redesigned where I'm going to be doing a lot of my work, and I needed more work surface area. So I built this desk from scratch, and if you guys are interested in this whole build process, let me know in the comment section below, and I'll do a whole video on that. But for today's video, we're going to be featuring these NiLight LED lights. And I'm super excited because we have a new platform to work on, and we'll get to that in a second. But let's do a quick unboxing and talk about these lights a little bit. Okay, so right off the bat, you'll notice these nice black brackets. These are gonna be what we're gonna use to install onto our new platform, and we'll get to that in a second. It's a nice heavy-duty material, and hopefully all the holes will line up with where we need them to mount. But now to these lights, these are the R0151 LED lights from NiLight Pro. A little bit of information on the specs. It is a little over 10,000 lumens for the two pieces, and what's really interesting is that the beam distance is 470 meters, so it'll be super interesting to see if that holds true. Over here on the side, it gives you the dimensions of the actual lights. So it's a 7-inch light in length and height, and it's got a 2.6-inch depth. And then here on the top, a couple quick ones that I wanted to touch on. It's got a 50,000 hour lifespan. It's really good, so you can leave it in the sun. It's durable UV. It's high-grade aluminum alloy zinc, which basically means that it won't short out on you, or it won't hopefully give you any electrical problems. It's impact resistant, so if you're taking it off-roading, if you're going through like sand and stuff, it shouldn't really matter. And it's really good in the water or snow if you were to get it wet. Okay, so I have this box halfway open because the front shows a really cool picture of the platform we're going to be installing it on, and I want to keep that as a surprise. But let's take a look here what we have. Here we have a harness, which is really nice. NiLight provides that for you. The brackets that you need, if you don't have alternate brackets, you can mount this pretty much anywhere. If you want to put it on a bumper, on the roof, wherever, but you will have to drill. And then we get to the actual lights. These are really nice lights. They're super slim, as you can see. They're not as big as the old ones where they have the big cooling fan in the back. Their cooling fan's a little bit slim, streamlined, plus you can tuck this plug right underneath it into the fins if you want. But this is really cool. These LED lights, the diodes look extremely big. And it looks like here they have a mixture of spot and flood beam reflectors, so it'll be interesting to see if the design holds up to 470 meter distance as they advertise. But it looks like there's a nice plug here that locks in place, so you don't have to worry about crimping wires and making sure they stay together. This looks like it will hold up to the test of time. So let's go ahead and check out our new platform. And so right here what we have is a 2021 Jeep Wrangler Rubicon in Sarge Green. The plan is not to drill anything just yet, but we're going to try and utilize the original bolts and mounting points as much as possible. So with our bracket, we're going to take out 1, 2, 3, 4, and we're going to mount this right here, and it leaves us looks like 2 other mounting points where we can mount the LED lights. So we're going to do that first, take the bolts out, mount this, and then figure out how to run the wire through the interior so that we can control the lights from the inside. So while we take a second to warm our hands a little bit because it's so cold outside, let's go ahead and mount the brackets onto the LED lights. That way we know how much clearance we have. It looks like they give us this bracket, and they give us a bunch of longer bolts which we're going to slide through and mount this to the actual LED light. And then there's a bottom hole here which will mount to our bracket. So the first thing I think I want to do is I want to mount this to the bracket. So if you can see, there's a little ridges here on the outside, and I believe those coincide with the big ridges here on the actual light, and then you're going to use a smaller one for the smaller ridges, so that way if you need to cant it a little bit, they're able to move. All right, now that we know our orientation of the bracket, we can mount that to our actual mounting plate. All right, so before I went and mounted the brackets, I decided to take a peek underneath the hood and check and see where I would be running the wires. And good thing I did, because it is very tight in there. So I decided, since the battery's on the right side of the Jeep, I'm gonna try and remove this fender liner in order to gain access to hopefully a grommet or a firewall I can sneak the wire through the passenger side. So I'm gonna go ahead and take off this fender, the right side, and apparently there's 1, 2, 3, and then 4 bolts. I'll get you a better angle of that over here. So there should be 1 bolt here, another bolt here that are pretty hidden. 1 in the front over here, that's 3, and then in this little hole here, I can feel there's a little bolt, basically a 10mm head, which we're gonna remove. And up front there's a little push pin, plastic pin, that we're gonna need to pull out before we pull the fender liner out. So I'm gonna go ahead and try and do that now. All right, so there's 1 more screw that you need to take out in the front, underneath the front fender liner, to completely remove the fender. I've already disconnected the turn signal. And there you go. Okay, so the original plan was to run it through the firewall, and I got my hole through the firewall and I could feel it through on the inside. The problem is I feel so many wires and the plug is so thick, I don't want to be ripping any of the original harness out. So temporarily what I'm going to do is I'm running the wire through the fender, and it's going to run around the door into the passenger side. And I'll show you that once I hook everything up, but for now I'm going to get everything back together. I'm going to mount the light pods and then run the wires to them, so you can enjoy this nice montage and enough of me talking. Okay, so starting at the battery, we got our negative and positive, and then here is a fuse so that if anything trips, it won't harm the rest of the car. And then we got the wires running right down here to that relay. The relay splits to right and left, so I have the excess wire here. I guess I could cut it and clean it up, but I'm gonna leave it for now. And we have it tucked right underneath this foam piece, running up here and around our bracket to our LED light. And then from the other side, basically it's the same thing. It just runs. I have it running over, or underneath rather, the cover, that Jeep cover, underneath the reservoir here and right around here, and zip tied right over here. And the same process for this lamp. Now, I know we talked about running the wire through the firewall into the passenger side, but instead I ended up running it right through here just because I felt so many wires through the main harness. And there it is right here. It's running right through the fender, and I'm tucking it right underneath for now, just as a temporary setup. And the switch they currently have is one of these on-off switches, but eventually we also want to do a light bar, so I'm gonna wait and hold off because I'm gonna get those rocker switches and eventually find a place to mount them inside the interior and make it look really nice. And so this is a temporary setup, just so at least we can use the lights. All right, so there you have it, the NiLight LED pods installed on the 2021 Jeep Wrangler Rubicon. Thank you to NiLight for sending out such a great product. I'm gonna end this video with how it looks at night, what they look like with and without the lights. Stay tuned as we plan to upgrade a lot more lighting on this vehicle, especially the headlights, the interior lights, turn signals, potentially a new bumper, the works. So stay tuned for that. If you guys are interested in this product, I'll leave the product link in the description below so you guys can check that out. Please subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll catch you in the next one. See ya.